Carrie Frances Fisher, October 21, 1956, December 27, 2016, was an American actress, writer, producer, and humorist. Fisher was the daughter of Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. She was known for playing Princess Leia in the Star Wars film series. Her other film roles included Shampoo, 1975, The Blues Brothers, 1980, Hannah and Her Sisters, 1986, The Burbs, 1989, and When Harry Met Sally, 1989. Fisher wrote several semi-autobiographical novels, including Postcards from the Edge, the screenplay for the film of the book, an autobiographical one-woman play, and a non-fiction book, Wishful Drinking, based on the play. She worked on other writers' screenplays as a script doctor. In later years, she earned praise for speaking publicly about her experiences with bipolar disorder and drug addiction. Fisher and her mother appear in Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, a 2016 documentary about the very close relationship between the two. It premiered at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. Fisher died at the age of 60 on December 27, 2016, 4 days after experiencing a medical emergency near the end of a transatlantic flight from London to Los Angeles.
Her fans in mourning this evening, Carrie Fisher, dead at age 60. Best known for her portrayal of Princess Leia in Star Wars, she was also an acclaimed writer, celebrated for her candid accounts of her battles with addiction and mental illness. Her famous friends and co-stars grieving tonight as we remember her extraordinary life.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
It was the role that defined her career, Princess Leia, the heroine of the sci-fi series that swept the world. She was just 20 when Carrie Fisher made the rebel leader larger than life. Then at age 59, she reprised the role for a new generation of enraptured audiences.
Some things never change.
True. You still drive me crazy.
She died this morning after suffering a heart attack. She was 60 years old. She leaves behind her mother, legendary actress Debbie Reynolds, her brother Todd Fisher, and her daughter, Billie Lourd. Reynolds posting these heartfelt words: "I'm grateful for your thoughts and prayers that are guiding her to her next stop. Love, Carrie's mother." And Todd Fisher sharing a personal memory in an emotional interview.
We were close friends. I mean, I was the younger brother. She drugged me around the house like a doll. It's a very strange place to be, looking at the world without her.
Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford describing Fisher in a statement: "Carrie was one of a kind, brilliant, original, funny, and emotionally fearless. She lived her life bravely." It was 4 days ago when Fisher fell critically ill aboard a United Airlines flight from London to L.A.
We have some passengers, nurses assisting the passenger. We have an unresponsive passenger, so they're working on it right now.
The Los Angeles Fire Department called to the gate for a patient in cardiac arrest, performing CPR before Fisher was transported to UCLA Medical Center. Her family at her bedside, even her beloved French bulldog, Gary, her constant companion on the red carpet and during interviews, like this Good Morning America appearance.
This is Gary.
This is Gary, and he's very, very famous on Twitter.
He likes looking at himself.
He really likes looking at himself. Well, wouldn't you if you looked like that?
Yeah.
Fisher, like her Star Wars character, was known for her fierce personality.
There's one. Set for stun.
We were used to seeing characters, princess characters in science fiction movies, as being decorative, right? As not being strong or not driving the action. She proved to be a Princess Leia who was feisty and indomitable, who gave as good as she got.
Somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way.
Her trademark dry wit on display in a conversation with ABC's David Muir, discussing the character she could never seem to get away from.
Carrie is Leia, Leia is Carrie, but through life. I mean, people have come up to you on the streets for 30 years.
Well, that's my favorite. That's Princess Leia, and then I'm supposed to go, yes, you rang?
But do you? Do you answer to that?
No, I very, very, you know, I have a lot of pride, and I don't answer to a space princess name when I'm in my actual life.
But she returned to the role officially in 2015, and the resistance again had its fearless leader.
Our system is the next target.
What do you think?
The parts where I'm in it are distressing, but everything else is really great.
But when they hear that the parts with Leia in them are distressing...
I got older, and no one told me. And then they put me on a screen really, really big. And they put me in high def.
Carrie Fisher was born into a Hollywood royal family 60 years ago in Beverly Hills, the daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher. Her career was prolific, first gracing the silver screen when she was just 18, playing a teenage temptress opposite Warren Beatty in Shampoo.
Are you?
My what? What are you talking about?
Making it with my mother.
But it was the iconic role of Princess Leia, just 2 years later, that catapulted her to superstardom.
Somebody has to save our skins.
And back then, this Hollywood princess wasn't confident playing galactic royalty.
I had a very round face, and they asked me to lose, at that point, 10 pounds, because they thought it was all on my face.
So at 19 years old, when they tell you that you have to lose weight for a film...
You want to hide. When you get on the set, you think they're going to say, oh, you didn't lose it. Bring in Jodie Foster.
Which didn't happen.
No, but I seriously was, you know, nervous.
The irony there, though, is that Princess Leia really inspired young girls right from the start.
But not to be pretty.
But she was really pretty.
No, yes, and I didn't know that.
But Fisher struggled with the sex symbol label bestowed on her after an unforgettable metallic bikini scene in Return of the Jedi.
If you're going to wear a slave outfit, make sure a giant slug forces you to do it, and make sure that you're 23.
Come on. Her on-screen chemistry with dashing co-star Harrison Ford helped launch them and the franchise to cult status.
Afraid I was going to leave without giving you a goodbye kiss?
I just assumed it's a Wookiee.
I can arrange that.
Their sexual tension from the first Star Wars to Empire Strikes Back led to one of the most famous scenes of all.
I love you.
I know.
The famous moment where you say, I love you.
I know.
That's what he says.
I know.
Would he say that today?
Yeah, he would.
Not wiser? Still a wise guy?
He is still a wise guy, but we've all been through a lot, and we're trying to, like, get it together.
I happen to like nice men.
Nice man.
Very nice.
That allure, according to Fisher, was not all acting. In her memoir, The Princess Diarist, Fisher claims that as a teenager, she had a brief affair with a 33-year-old married Ford while filming the very first Star Wars. Her life was also punctuated by a struggle with bipolar disorder and addiction.
I'm mentally ill. I have a chemical imbalance that, in its most extreme state, will lead me to a mental hospital.
She told our Diane Sawyer that it was her mental illness that fueled her drug abuse.
So each day you'd wake up and you decide what you needed that day in order to feel what?
Less. Just feel less.
Carrie Fisher was important on screen for embodying an iconic character. But off screen, she was also very important for coming out and talking about her fight with being bipolar, with drugs and addiction and rehab. And I think that demystified those problems and made it acceptable for people to say, yes, I do have a problem with addiction.
She channeled her own story of struggle into creative work. Her book, Postcards from the Edge, tale of an actress hooked on pills, turned into a movie starring Meryl Streep.
I'm dropping someone off. Isn't this an emergency room?
She then dove in deeper, Wishful Drinking, a one-woman stage show on HBO.
I was invited to go to a mental hospital. And, well, you don't want to be rude, right? So you go.
And she also battled the stigma of mental illness off-screen. Harvard awarded her the Outstanding Lifetime Achievement Award for activism earlier this year. Her real-life loves included a tumultuous marriage to musical legend Paul Simon His song Hearts and Bones, inspired by their relationship.
Hearts and bones.
And later, a relationship with Hollywood agent Brian Lord. But last year, she delighted Star Wars fans by rekindling her on-screen bond with Harrison Ford in The Force Awakens.
You changed your hair.
Same jacket.
Cementing her legacy as a trailblazer in the world of science fiction, appearing not as a princess, but a general.
Excuse me, Princess. General, sorry.
I love this.
Jenna Bush runs Legion of Leia, a blog dedicated to women in sci-fi.
Carrie, she was Princess Leia. She was the only role model that most of us had as little girls in the 70s. Women were decoration. They were draped over the hero. This woman stood up to Darth Vader, basically fixed her own rescue. I had never seen anything like that before.
The role considered revolutionary in a male-dominated genre.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
All of a sudden started to see women who did more than just sit there once Leia was out there. You also saw little girls starting to demand that. We wanted more than Barbie.
That legacy, Bush says, will live on.
Seeing Leia changed my entire life. And I think that little girls, decades from now, watching episode 4, are going to fall in love with her just the way I did.
Tonight, an outpouring of grief from Fisher's co-stars. Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, tweeting, "No words, devastated." And director George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, said in a statement, "In Star Wars, she was our great and powerful princess, feisty, wise, and full of hope, in a role that was more difficult than most people might think."
The people who worked on Star Wars with her, they adored her. They just adored her. I mean, she was an idol worth looking up to.
And Bob Iger, the CEO and chairman of Disney, saying millions fell in love with her as the indomitable Princess Leia. She will always have a special place in the hearts of Star Wars fans.
Some things never change.
True. They still drive me crazy.
In July, Fisher finished filming the 8th installment of Star Wars, which is currently in post-production. In the meantime, she will no doubt be remembered by legions of Star Wars fans with that iconic line,
"May the Force be with you."